Welcome to the October edition of Campus Connections. I'm Luis Pedraja, president of the college, and today I'm here with our HRM staff and students who are going to help us to make some spooky gingerbread houses for Halloween.
So we decided to go with this because in the 1600s in Germany, the gingerbread house was developed, but it really became popular with Hansel and Gretel and the spooky witch in the forest. We decided to take that twist and make a spooky gingerbread house for just the holiday.
I love the Hansel and Gretel connection.
I know, most people don't know it.
We have to get cooking, huh?
We do.
Can you show me how to make those houses?
Absolutely.
All right, are you ready to make some cookies?
I'm ready to make cookies.
Excellent. So we've got all of our mise en place together. We've got the tray that we're going to put our cookies on. We've got all of our cookie cutters to make the house. We've got our 2 rolling pins because I'm going to have you roll. And we have a little bit of flour for our dough. Now the dough is a pumpkin gingerbread dough that we had the baking class make this morning, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some flour on our workspace, and then we're going to flour up our dough because we don't want it to stick to anything. So all we're going to do is we're going to roll it out so it's nice and smooth. This is a very forgiving recipe and a very easy dough to work with.
So you roll and turn.
Roll and turn.
All right, let's
Give it a
give
shot.
it a try.
Excellent.
Now, how thick do you need this to be?
So we want it to be maybe about 1/8 of an inch thick. We do want something nice and thick so that we're able to build nice structurally sound walls. And don't be afraid to be a little angry with it.
Okay, so you got all your
There
frustrations.
you go. That's right, you got it. It's very therapeutic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent, perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to, because you can tell how sticky it is, we're gonna make sure that our cookie cutters are nice and floured, and we're going to cut out one. Would you like to press down? Excellent. Perfect. We're going to do one of those. And then we'll do one over here. Why don't we have you do the chimney? Maybe right in the middle, right there.
Right there. And the chimney came out.
So what we're going to do is we're going to walk them right over here, and we're just going to put them right on the parchment paper. Now, when we're baking this, we want to be careful because this little guy's going to cook really fast, much faster than these guys.
Right.
Okay. So then we're just going to easily, see how easy this dough is?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to put that one there.
You made this pumpkin gingerbread.
Yeah, it's a pumpkin gingerbread.
And Susie, why is it important to try and get as many cuts as we can out of our first batch of dough when we first roll it out?
Oh, because usually as we are rolling it out, we're adding lots and lots of flour to the dough.
Right.
And the dough will start getting really tough. It'll also start getting, as we keep it out here, it'll start warming up, which will make it much more stickier, and it'll make it harder to cut in the cookie cutting process.
Good point.
Now we just put it in the oven. It bakes for about 4 minutes, and then we're going to turn it, and then we'll bake it for another 4 minutes.
That's quick.
Yep, that is very quick.
So you have it at 325. It's
Yes.
a convection oven that runs hotter.
Yes.
Now, people that don't have one at home, what would they set it at?
They would just cook it at 350 degrees for 8 minutes, turning halfway through.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good.
Janellee, can you tell me a little bit about the culinary program here?
So over here at the Worcester Senior Center, we have the culinary program, the hospitality program, and the dietary management program.
Lots of cooking.
Lots of cooking. So we offer cultural meals out of the diner here with the seniors, so they have the opportunity to get a good meal, and also the students have the opportunity to get some more learning experience.
What kind of careers are students preparing for?
We can have people getting into restaurants or into bake shops, or hospitality programs would get into like hotels or lodging. We have correctional opportunities, or with our dietary program, dietitians, all that fun stuff. So we have a very diverse group of people that come to the Senior Center every day. Our current groups that visit most frequently found are the Middle Eastern group. We do their meal on Tuesdays. The Latino group, their meals are on Wednesdays. The Vietnamese vegan are on Thursday, and also the Chinese are on Friday. Everyone's more than welcome to come to any meal they would like to. Those are just the days their groups meet. So they usually hear anyways.
So you do the emphasis.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, you're not just teaching the students how to cook. Your job is not like to get them working in the kitchen as cleaning the dishes and all that. Your job is to empower them to be entrepreneurs, to
Right.
own their own business, to open their own restaurant in the future. They might have to start cooking for someone as a sous chef or
Right.
something, but eventually they're going to be the people in charge. And so you're going beyond the recipes.
Right,
Your
exactly.
recipe is for success, not for the meals themselves.
Right, exactly. We hope to all of our students become bigger than we ever expected them to be.
That's a wonderful goal. Thank you.
Okay, so now our cookies are really hot, but they're slightly domed on top, which is going to make decorating them very difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take something with a flat bottom. We're just gonna gently rub over the top to flatten it down. See, now it makes a nice flat surface, which will make it easier for you and Justin to decorate.
I see. That's a good trick.
Great job.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we're going to be moving on to the assembling of the gingerbread house. So first we have one of the sides, the front of the house or the back, and then we're going to take the side, and then we're going to pipe some of the royal icing, just a small amount, along the edge.
So this is like buying a product at IKEA, except it doesn't come with instruction outside of the video.
And then we're going to just attach the side.
And you have to hold it in place for a while?
Yeah, just so it can stick.
How long do you think?
Maybe like 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So Janellee,
Maybe.
tip it up on its bottom. Yep, and that'll hold
Okay.
it nicely.
Now I'm adding the other half of the house.
So is that the back or the front?
It could be either or.
Beautiful. And I would just hold each side and give it a nice little squeeze, very light.
And now I'm gonna add the roof.
You've done better than I could have.
And now we're gonna add our chimney.
Future pastry chef in the making.
Absolutely.
And there you have it. That is your gingerbread house assembled.
So now I'm going to turn to the students. How have you experienced this program? What do you think about this wonderful program here?
Yeah, so I actually started the program last January, midterm. I came as a part of the Mass Reconnect program. It was super easy to apply to the program and to fill out the FAFSA and to get accepted into the program. I've absolutely loved all of my interactions with my advisors, my lab instructors, and as well as my fellow students.
Started in the spring semester, kind of went, but it was easy to sign up, really start going and really start learning on what it is that I want to get out of this.
So I'm interested in becoming a professional pastry chef after this program. So this program gives me a lot of insight and allows me to learn.
And what's your ultimate goal?
Basically, I wanted to be running my own restaurant, eventually kind of get into the upper management levels of that, essentially.
So my goal is to eventually become an official cheese scholar, and this is a part of the way of getting there.
Oh, wonderful.
And going on to maybe get my bachelor's degree.
So another question for students, and we'll start right here. What's the favorite moment or experience that you had with the program?
Personally, I've had good experience overall starting with the program, but my favorite lab, I would say, as of right now, is the lamb lab. We got to try a whole bunch of different cuts and recipes.
My favorite part, honestly, is just being able to eat and try everything that we cook up, and then just learning these new recipes to save for later,
Sure, I know everybody's saying the lab, and that's certainly one of my favorite parts of the program. Certainly when something doesn't work out and we learn about why the recipe doesn't work, and certainly mistakes happen all the time. I also really love the instructional part of it, where there's a lot of lively debate in the classes and we get to learn a lot from each other's experiences. Everybody comes in here with a certain level of knowledge, and it's up to us to be able to thrive.
Yeah, I've been learning how to make sourdough at
That's
home.
a great one.
So it's been fun, but you learn from those mistakes and you learn to adjust. And if you're in the real world, in the kitchen, you have to save the meal, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's important.
Awesome. Well, now we're here getting started on the decoration part of the gingerbread house. Well, we got black, orange, green, white, and purple frosting. And then we have got some almonds here. Actually, now that I think about it, I might get one more of these tombstones, cover it in purple, give it like a purple tongue, put that like on the door too.
So it could be like the doorstep, that's a purple tongue.
Exactly, you know? Awesome, so we'll start off with the eyes here really quick. The eyes right in there, let those start drying while we work on some of the other things.
So we gotta cut this one. So we're going to push it down to the bottom as much as possible. You're gonna wanna twist, and then you're gonna cut as small of a slit off the top as possible, okay? So just enough to have a nice, yeah, that should be good.
I'm kind of glad you went through it because I wouldn't know how to do it.
Because if you do, then it's all gonna come out, it's not gonna stop, and then we'll have a big mess.
I'm sure that will sink in and settle.
Perfect.
Yeah. That guy right over there.
So this is a royal icing, which will stiffen up and act as a glue. So all these will dry pretty quickly.
And where do you get the icing for this?
So we actually made it today. I found a recipe online. We do meringue powder, powdered sugar, and a little bit of water. It has egg whites and it acts like a stiffener. And then I mixed in the colors.
Perfect.
So these gingerbread houses were actually baked by the baking class this morning. They had cookie lab this morning, and I switched it from cookies to houses so we could have something fun to do this afternoon.
Starting to take shape.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect.
Now you gotta get the kitty.
Exactly. Hold him on there. And then just go ahead and add some designs to the top real quick. Think should I add a little bit of more pizzazz to the front at all, or
Eyebrows.
eyebrows?
Yeah.
You think some eyebrows would go? And then should we give him a mustache too? I'm joking, don't worry.
Thank you for watching Campus Connections. We look forward to seeing you again for our November edition. And happy Halloween. I hope you have time to enjoy one of these recipes for your Halloween decorations. Have a good one.